The blood in your head thrums and pounds. That pounding blood obscures who you are. An overwhelming loss of memory. How you ended up amidst these hellish flames is just as hidden. You have nothing in your skull, besides your name and a headache. But you are in danger. Time to get out of here. And then you can shed light on the dark of the matter of yourself.
Nyx awakens, covered in blood and surrounded by flame. There is not one, but two voices in their mind. Ignoring both of these voices, they explore their surroundings and soon find a precious gem and some gold to pocket. Nyx may not remember anything more than their name, but they do know, should they survive this, they'll need currency to get by.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
There are many things Nyx could do to these writhing little monsters, and it doesn't take them long to choose the best option. A rather large hole in the side of the ship reveals barren mountain peaks and a strange towering structure in the distance. It is an unfamiliar sight, but then again, so is everything else. Having looted every chest and corpse in the room, Nyx approaches a strange, glowing device. They immediately feel energized, healthier even, and conclude that glowing structures are probably good things.
We are trapped.
In the next room, a small voice calls out. Ever curious, Nyx follows it and finds a body. Though its mouth does not move, a voice cries from its open skull.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please, before they return.
You notice edema, a swelling of the brain causing pressure where it strains against the shell of the skull.
The smallest bit of knowledge returns to Nyx. Whoever they once were had at least a little medical experience. Perhaps it will be enough.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient should it prove a threat. Your fingers twitch with the desire to rip its tender, moist meat to shreds.
The desire to harm the creature passes, and it slips from their hands.
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend. We must go to the helm. At the helm, we are needed.
Having no better ideas, they agree. This plan is immediately interrupted by a green warrior who makes a dramatic and aggressive entrance.
Abomination, this is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh, my head. What is this? Skvar, you are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
Lae'zel, as she is called, seems to know more than Nyx, which is quite a lot considering their lack of memory. Nyx agrees to join her. Lae'zel immediately starts a fight with the very next thing she sees. Nyx's own power does little to defeat the enemy, but thankfully the brain puppy has plenty of bite to finish the creature off, and Lae'zel has no problem laying waste to the imps. Nyx decides to focus on looting the bodies.
You proved surprisingly adamant.
Before long, another voice cries out for help, and they find a dark-haired woman trapped in a pod.
Let me out! You! Get me out of this damn thing!
We have no time for stragglers.
But they actually have all the time in the world, at least for now. More knowledge trickles its way back into Nyx's mind. Knowledge of the arcane. Perhaps they have more power than they realize.
Warding runes. You feel them drawing energy from the console near to the pod.
A desire to use their power grows. They can't help but give in.
The console hums to life. Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. The parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority. You feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
At last.
She is grateful, but has her doubts.
You keep dangerous company.
Nyx points out there is little here that isn't dangerous.
Fair point. Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Shadowheart, as the woman is called, grabs a strange item from the pod before joining their team. Together, they arrive at the helm.
Connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape.
Another fight begins. It doesn't take long before Nyx realizes they are better suited to looting bodies. Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and the Brain Puppy take care of the fighting while Nyx collects what they can from the corpses. All three decide to leave the Devil and the Mind Flayer to themselves and soon reach the console. From there, everything goes wrong. Nyx does not know how they survived, only that they did. To celebrate, they immediately loot the nearest corpse.
You drink in the pungent corpse. Since you awoke on the ship, your mind has been cold and empty, but something stirs. With your hands close to this body, you know nothing of why, but you find a half smile flittering across your face. This feels like home. There is something unknown and unspeakable deep within your heart.
At first, they worry this delight is from seeing a dead body, but Nyx quickly reasons it's more likely because they found gold in the pockets. Not far away, Nyx finds Shadowheart. They can't tell if she is alive or dead, but they spot the strange object in her hand. Nyx can't help but reach for it.
What are you doing? I'm alive, yes. Thank you for the concern.
Thankfully, Shadowheart doesn't question their bluff and makes it clear she would prefer if they remained a team. Nyx is aware that between the worm in their head and their missing memories, their odds of survival would be better with company. The beach is awash with wreckage, and Nyx finds several treasures, including an enticing hat, which they immediately put atop their head. The hat must be magic, because after putting it on, Nyx realizes the worm might be the cause of their memory loss. In which case, Shadowheart might also be forgetting her past.
I understand why you ask, but memory loss is not as uncommon as you'd think. There may be other causes.
Nyx can't help but notice she doesn't say whether or not her memories were intact. Perhaps the worm did mess with her head, but in a way she hasn't noticed yet. Nyx finds a flute and wonders if perhaps they used to be a bard of sorts. Based on the noise they make, it seems not. The ship's wreckage opens, and they see intellect devourers within. Nyx excitedly charges into battle, confident they can handle the creatures. Their confidence is misplaced. As they fall to the ground, they can't help but be disappointed that their journey ended so soon. Nyx awakens on the beach. Their hat is missing, along with the other items they had collected since falling from the ship. Also, they no longer appear to be dead. They once again find gold in the pockets of a corpse, and then Shadowheart lying nearby. For a moment, Nyx is tempted to reach for the mysterious object, but since it didn't work last time, they decide to wake Shadowheart instead.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
They also reclaim their awesome, definitely magical hat, but for some reason the flute is nowhere to be found. Instead of following the path that led to death, Nyx leads them further down the beach, where they find a door which will not open. With no more paths to follow, they have no choice but to return to the awful brain rats. Nyx attempts to be clever by throwing a combustible container they found on the Mind Flayer ship. However, their weak arms cannot lift it. Luckily, Shadowheart works out and has no problem throwing the explosive item into the room.
Better stay back. One strike could be lethal.
Nyx decides to let Shadowheart lead the battle and stands at the back to offer moral support. Together, they defeat the brain rats. Nyx happily returns to looting. Among other treasures, they find a skull and a lovely violin. They had no skill with the flute, but perhaps the violin will be different. It was not. They did find a rock that seemed to be hiding a secret, but neither Nyx nor Shadowheart could figure out how to move it. While they pushed and pulled, a voice called for assistance in the distance.
Hello? Over here!
The rock wasn't going anywhere, so they followed the voice instead. What they found was a pale elf.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered. There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
Whoever this was clearly had no idea that Nyx's talents lay in looting bodies and wearing definitely magical hats.
I was hoping for a kind soul. Well, not to worry.
The knife was certainly a surprise, as was Nyx's ability to escape.
I saw you on the ship, strutting about whilst I was trapped in that pod. What did you and those tentacled freaks do to me?
Nyx tried to explain he had it wrong.
I'm not an idiot. I saw... Ah!
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light, the fear.
What was that? What's going on? It's those tentacled monsters. Whatever they did, whatever they put in us, just created a connection. They took you too. I saw it during whatever just happened. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies. My name's Astarion. I was in Baldur's Gate when those beasts snatched me.
Nyx introduced themselves as well, though they were only vaguely certain their name was actually Nyx. More importantly, more allies meant better odds of survival. This elf seemed good with a knife. Perhaps they would be a useful companion for the road.
You know, I was ready to go this alone, but maybe sticking with the herd isn't such a bad idea. And you seem like a useful person to know. All right. I accept. Lead on.
As he joins your side, your mind dances with thoughts of a perfect, pretty corpse.
Nyx briefly wonders where these dark thoughts are coming from. Perhaps their memory loss was the result of a head injury, and their scrambled brain matter is jumping to strange places as a result. The path once again leads into the ruined ship, and something unpleasant waits within.
There. A mind flayer. And it's hurt.
That thing's bound to be dangerous, even if injured.
Nyx, however, is not worried. They know how to deal with such threats.
I'll strike you down. Monster.
Nyx now had 2 skulls, the start of a small collection. Not far from the ship, the party finds a glowing swirl of energy. If Nyx has learned anything since waking up on that Mind Flayer ship, it is that glowing things are always good. Then again, perhaps not.
A hand? Anyone? Ow! Perhaps I should have clarified? A helping hand? Anyone?
Nyx sees an opportunity to use their magic. They will not waste it.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick.
Their confidence is rewarded. Clearly, they are good at this.
Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this.
The man named Gale had a lot to say.
You were on the Norse Lloyd as well. Insertion in the ocular region. Period of excruciating gestation. A process known as ceramorphosis. It is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? It's not exactly a common affliction. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together?
The party was now 4 strong as they headed away from the crashed ship and towards a ruined building. There, a few locals were standing about suspiciously.
I'm telling you, it's a ship. And the crypt can wait. Mari and Barton have been trying to break in for days. Now we... Stop! Got ourselves competition already. That's our ship.
The fools had no idea Nyx had already looted every corner of it. Not that they would listen. So Nyx opted to describe the monsters instead, and simply not mention they were all dead now.
Well, in that case, come on you lot. No point in getting killed. Second worm gets the cheese and all.
Second mouse gets the cheese, no?
Nobody's getting any damn cheese! Now move it!
Finding a moment of quiet, Nyx decided to get to know their new companions a little better.
You're not versed in magic, are you?
They immediately regretted it. Nyx was suddenly considering whether they really needed another magic wielder on the team. Surely one was enough. Thankfully, there was a mysterious locked hatch to distract them. It took a couple tries, but it did open. Down the ladder they went and into the ruins of a crypt, most likely connected to the ruined building just outside. Nyx wasted no time looting every corner and corpse. They even found a mysterious button which opened a door and caused the dead to rise. After a brief battle, they entered the secret room. Nyx continued their looting, but the tomb opened with hardly a touch. The withered being within rose in a dramatic fashion. Before asking complicated questions.
What is the worth of a single mortal's life?
Nyx had never considered this before. How did one even assign value to life? And wouldn't the value differ from one person to another? A life worth the world to one person might be worth nothing to another. If every life is worth everything to some and nothing to others, maybe it all balances out to the same.
In death, that is so. Very well. I am satisfied. We will see each other again at the proper time and place. Farewell.
The withered one proceeded to leave, and Nyx proceeded to loot his tomb. As the party readied to leave, they noticed the withered one coming out of a side room. Curious as always, Nyx decided to snoop around. The locked chest held only paltry treasures, but on a shelf, lying out in the open, was a locked book. A bit of magic opened it easily.
Gods. These are the names of gods, once lost but now restored after the Second Sundering.
Leaving the crypt, the party worked their way backwards through the structure and came upon a room which quickly filled with fire. Once again, Nyx felt the darkness of death. Only this time, they returned to the moment just before the trap went off. No one else seemed to notice, and perhaps that was for the best. In a different area, a few candles opened a door, and soon they had a fight on their hands. Gale went down, but was quickly helped up again. Nyx would have gladly teased him for his fragility, only they went down a moment later, and also needed help. While Nyx still doubted the team needed 2 magic casters, they did consider that maybe they had been a bit harsh with Gale. The man had actually studied magic. Maybe he could help with their lost memory.
Memory loss isn't usually a symptom of ceremorphosis. If it is, they've forgotten to write it down in any text I've read on the subject.
So he didn't know for certain either. Nyx wondered if the old library they had found might have answers. They found 5 copies of a book about the Valspawn crisis, 3 copies of a book on vampires, and 5 copies of a book called The Unclaimed. Nyx didn't see how any of this would help with their memory loss, so they pocketed the books and planned to sell them for coin. As the team left the ruins behind, they heard voices and soon spotted a familiar green drama warrior. Lae'zel had somehow gotten caught.
Your skull pounds in response to the prisoner's white-hot stare. Her lips don't move, yet you hear her voice.
Get rid of them.
Nyx was fairly certain the drama green could have escaped on her own, but agreed to help anyway.
They're right. No one's safe if that thing goes loose.
And be careful. There are goblin traps everywhere.
Nymessa, come.
Enough gawking. Get me down.
Say please.
Never.
Such confidence and pride. Still, she had proven to be very strong. Nyx couldn't help but feel their team needed a bit more raw strength if they wanted to survive.
My people possess the cure for this infection. I must find a creche. You will join me.
Lae'zel was the first to kindly suggest they stick together.
Make space, and my might is yours.
It also gave Nyx a reason to send Gale to camp. 2 spellcasters was one too many for their team anyway.
The mind is strong, but the knees, well, they are a little sore. I'll gladly put my feet up.
Thankfully, he didn't complain about it. It didn't take long for the new team to run into trouble.
Open the bloody gate! Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders!
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade! And suffer its sting.
By some miracle, or perhaps pure skill, only the goblins died.
That was the last of them. Inside! All of you! More may follow! Open the gate!
Fearing another attack, everyone else rushed inside. However, one of the voices in Nyx's head assured them there was no danger, so Nyx calmly looted the bodies before heading in.
There are children here, you fool! We was running for our lives. You led them straight to us, and you let them take the druid too? Unbelievable!
Nyx wondered if they had been any good at peacekeeping before they lost their memories. Perhaps a little diplomacy might help them recall something.
We lost him back at the ruins. Whole place is crawling with gobos. He trusted you. Nobody forced him to go with us. He insisted. And when things got tough, he couldn't keep up. Simple as that. My God, you're a coward.
Nyx felt a strong urge to punch the curly-haired man, but they needed to know if they were good at being diplomatic. So they forced themselves to speak with reason. It worked, but just barely.
You're right. There's too much at stake.
Nyx didn't remember anything, and being diplomatic didn't bring any satisfaction.
Forgive that display. Aradin's a blowhard, but that's no cause for me to join him. Thank you for your help out there. I'm Zevlor. I should warn you, visitors are no longer welcome in this grove. There have been several attacks by different monsters. The druids blame us outsiders for drawing them here. Nobody's welcome anymore. They've started a ritual to cut the grove off from the world outside. We can't stay, but we'll be slaughtered if we leave. I've tried. Korga, their new first druid, won't even see me. You, though? I know it's not your business, but she owes you for saving this place. Perhaps you could persuade her. For more time to prepare, if nothing else.
Nyx's definitely magic hat reminded them that a healer would be useful.
Goblin got you. The druid Halsin's a renowned healer, but he didn't make it back from Aradin's expedition. If it's not too serious, you could try his apprentice Nettie. She's with the other druids in the Inner Grove. They've withdrawn there to prepare this damn ritual of theirs.
Really? We're messengers now.
Nyx couldn't help but agree. It also occurred to Nyx that it would be good to get to know their current allies a little better.
I understand much beyond your comprehension. More to the point, I know the cure for our condition. It is imperative we locate a creche. You do well to observe more and question less.
Nyx didn't like Lae'zel's tone and made a note to do something about it at a later time. Still, she knew a lot about the worms, and maybe she could finally confirm if that was the cause of Nyx's memory loss.
Ceramorphosis takes all of you. Mind, body, soul. An ordinary tadpole would eat at your memories until they were lost to the void. But our tadpoles are far from ordinary. I wonder if another factor's in play.
It seemed not, so Nyx brought up the strange thoughts that occasionally slipped into their head.
Many a good warrior savors the scent of blood in the air. There's no shame in a capricious murder now and again. Too many, though, and you waste energy and dull your weapon. My suggestion: attack with purpose and savor your kills. And if the urge proves too much, well, I'm sure we can find you a goblin or two to carve up.
Lae'zel's lack of concern put Nyx at ease. Her advice for managing such thoughts was appreciated. The day has been surprisingly long, and the grove, though unwelcoming, seemed as good a place as any to rest. They made camp, and Nyx saw a familiar old man had made himself comfortable in their presence.
We meet again, as predicted. I shall be here in thy camp, for whenever thou hast need of my services. For a mere pittance of coin, I might summon the worthiest among them to lend aid to thy undertaking. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more.
As far as Nyx could tell, Withers was an old merchant of life and death. Considering they had died twice already, he seemed like a good ally to keep around. Nyx was not happy to see a second Gale in camp. Did they not have enough spellcasters already? Nyx's definitely magical hat, despite not being worn, calmed them. It was probably just a copy, and not more competition. In which case, it could at least be used for entertainment.
It's done all that and more at plenty of soiree, I can tell you. Be that as it may. Ceramorphosis. What does it make you think of?
Nyx felt their head was muddled enough without a lecture.
Long story short, then. Thanks to the tadpole, we should have developed more than invasive symptoms by now. But we haven't. Our orifices remain blissfully unblooded, our heads remain clear, and our blood temperature normal. Any expert will agree this is abnormal.
Long live the abnormal.
I'll toast to that. The pragmatic in me, however, sees only the silence before the storm. Something to sleep on. We should get some rest.
While Gale was busy being logical, Lae'zel continued to be dramatic.
Our bones should ache. Our mouths should bleed.
At least Astarion seemed to be enjoying himself.
We're all doing surprisingly well, given the circumstances. I'm not taking anything for granted, of course. First sign of change, and I'll have to stop that pretty little heart of yours. I am open to suggestions. Knives, poison, strangulation, whatever you'd prefer.
So many options. Though, if Nyx had to choose...
A classic. One good thrust to the heart, and you're gone. We need a good blade, of course. Don't want to waste time hacking and prodding with a dinner knife. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is all a worst-case scenario, obviously. Oh, my dear. I'd like to see you try. Now, let's get some rest. The sooner we start tomorrow, the better our chances of keeping this hypothetical.
Nyx was glad at least one person was optimistic about their situation. Surprisingly, Shadowheart was also cheery.
I couldn't help but overhear... Well, alright, I could have helped, but didn't. Anyway, I feel the same. Other than the occasional mental exchange, it's almost as if we're not infected. The voice on the ship told me I'd become a beautiful weapon. What do you think it meant?
Everyone kept saying the mess in their head was likely unrelated to the worms. It was likely the same for any voices.
For now. But we can't take the lack of symptoms for granted. We have to keep looking for a healer. I've said my piece. Good night.
What had started as a cheery conversation had quickly soured. Nyx wondered if they had said something wrong. It wasn't the best way to end the day, but sleep called them, and they had a healer to find come the morning. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. Nyx is very much in the figuring out stage of recovering their memories, which means they may try a few uncharacteristic things before they can sort out what feels most comfortable. I hope you enjoy it and keep an eye out for part 2. Also, take care of yourself.